Welcome to this episode of Value-Driven Delivery. So today we're going to talk about the Sitecore data structure. Sitecore have been in the market for a while, and the purpose for this video is give you like foundation view for the Sitecore data structure. And hopefully it's be one-page view for all the key concepts of the data structure. So let's start with the Sitecore templates. So everything in the cycle is a kind of items. So template is also a type of items. It defines the basic data structure for the all the views. It's kind of like a class or schemas. So the templates allows the kind of like inheritance for from one template to another. So it's called so we can use inheritance. It has allows the multiple inheritance called base templates. And within the template, it has the field sections, and also in the field section, you define the fields as well. So another key concept within the templates is called standard values. It's kind of as a prototype of the templates used to um, kind of instantiate for the content or items. So so let's go to the second key concept is called is items or in here is called a specific called a content items. It holds all the data um, inside for the presentations like articles, news, those sort of things. So the content allows definitely allows like it's kind of tree structure. So it's allowed like children of the content items. So and uh, um, and for the content, it allow what kind of content can be inserted within that specific content, which this is defined by the insert options. Um, so that's called insert options. So insert option can also define in the standard value as well. Um, so uh, so this will be defined for these two. So for the content, it definitely will be a type, an instance of a specific templates. So here is kind of a content is a specific type of the templates. So so let's talk about the standard values. Um, so it holds a lot of like default values things. Um, okay, so sorry about that. So this before we go to the standard value, let's talk about the the layouts and the sub layouts, which is another two key um, concept. So essentially, layout is mapping to the ASPX or CSHTML, which is a master page usually. It kind of hosts the master page for the code. It's a reference to the code basically. So and sublayout the reference to the ASCX, which is the user control web controls or MVC rendering. So it has kind of a linking as a reference to the source code. So you can do something like this. And we can do the same thing for um, sorry about that. And so as you can see, actually the we can draw a line here. So the line above is called you can consider it's kind of cycle items, and the line below is kind of the source code of Visual Studio source code. So here the linkage happens from by defining the layout and sub-layout items. Okay, so how does the layouts like the view link towards the content? So this is linked towards via the for from the content. There's like kind of a attribute called the presentation details, and inside the at presentation detail, you can define the layouts, you can define the controls, um, you can define the how do you placeholder. There's a multiple placeholder can be put into the layout. So how do you um, what kind of restriction do you want to put into the placeholder? That's called placeholder settings. And the one of the key items here is called allowed controls. So so basically let's link this. So for the so presentation detail is a attribute or a setting within the content. So it has a kind of a reference to here. Let's move this over here. So it's kind of a tab within Sitecore. So the presentation data is within the configuration of the item. Definitely, of course, it also has can is also be part of the standard values. As we mentioned, like standard value is kind of a prototype of the content. So in the layout, you can link these settings to the a concrete layout. So we can put it's a linking from the layout settings layout to the specific layout items, and the same for the controls. You can add. So remember here is the controls. So you can add more or more multiple um, kind of items to the sub layouts. Sorry, one or more sub layouts to controls. And for the placeholder settings, it basically define what kind of a specific here is allowed controls. So it can define a specific list of control allowed can be set add to the this presentation. So it's also reference to sub layouts here. So another setting is called a parameter settings. So for sublayer, you can define as a list of the parameters and define as the and associate via the parameter settings. So anytime in the presentation details, you can set those parameters um, in the parameter settings. Um, so another key concept is called a data source. So for the sublayer, you can specify a location of the data source. So this is defined. So the data source location will be defined in the sublayouts, and which is pointing to a specific type of content. So it's something like this. And this is called a data source locations. Another thing is you can specify a type of the data source templates to allow for this specific sublayouts. So this is pointing to the data templates. So something like that. I'll do this, right? And this is called a data source templates. Yeah. I think that's pretty much all the key concept of the cycle data structure. Hope this is a great overview for you. Um, Thanks again. This is a Lingzu from Value Value Driven Delivery. See you next time.